Yikong traveled through another world, and he could break through a realm every day he fished. In the past 10 years, he has broken through to more than 3,000 levels of chi training. He thought his life would be dull, roasting white tigers and catching phoenixes, but one day, the Empress was reborn and came to worship him as her master. Yikong, hey, disciple, can you please stop worrying me? Empress, no way, my master is practicing chi. He is just pretending, he can never be a peerless master. So let's start. Xinghe sect, one of the largest cultivation sects in the Lianyun continent of the mortal realm, is hosting a once-in-a-decade disciple acceptance ceremony here. Tens of thousands of candidates need to compete to determine the winner. Those who win 5 games in a row can become outer disciples, and those who win 10 games in a row will become inner disciples. A man is attacked and thrown away from the arena. And the announcer says, the winner of arena number 7 has been decided. And she's going to throw that guy out of the arena, Lin Tian Rebirth Empress. And she thinks, such a waste can be selected to participate in the disciple recruiting ceremony. This Xinghe sect is nothing but SOSO. I never thought that I, the great Empress, would start my cultivation of immortality from this small sect. Forget it. Anyway, my goal is just to obtain the qualification of an immortal cultivator. After I have practiced in the Xinghe sect for 10 years, I will seek revenge on that traitor. Then we see an old man, and he is Great Elder of Xinghe sect, and the Great Elder says being able to reach the 6th level of chi refining at such a young age shows that he is truly a natural-born immortal cultivator. Then we see a man, and he is Qin Changqing, acting master of Heavenly Sword Peak. And he says, Great Elder, you have good taste. Heavenly Sword Peak wants her. So the Great Elder says, Junior brother Changing, don't forget that the principle of our Xinghe sect is freedom of discipleship. If you want her to become your disciple at Heavenly Sword Peak, it depends on whether she is willing. And Qin Changqing says, don't worry, Great Elder, Changqing will never violate the sect rules. I believe she will make the best choice. Then the Great Elder's attention goes towards an empty chair, and he asks the disciple, why hasn't Yikong come yet? Didn't I tell you to call him? So the disciple replies, the disciple has already reminded Uncle Yikong, but Uncle Yikong said he has something important to do and will come later. And the Great Elder says, what else could this kid be doing? He must have gone fishing. How could the former clan leader, heroic Gaisher, give birth to such a son? Then the scene shifts, Xinghe sect Xiaoyao Peak. And we see a man who is fishing, and he says, my name is Yikong. I have traveled to the world of immortal cultivation and am currently the leader of Xiaoyao Peak of Xinghe sect. Although I am the leader of a peak, I am actually the only one in charge. There is no one else in the entire Xiaoyao Peak except me. Because in the eyes of others I am just a nobody in the chi refining stage, and I was able to become the peak master thanks to my father, the former leader of the Xinghe sect. Second generation officials. But in fact, and the system tells Yikong, it is detected that the host has been fishing for 9 years and 265 days. The host's current cultivation level is chi refining stage, 3550th level. And Yikong says, I have already awakened the system. As long as I keep fishing every day, I can improve my cultivation. That's right. As long as I fish here for a day, my cultivation level will increase by 1 level. It's just that the 9th level of chi refining is already the limit for ordinary people, and I'm still unable to build a foundation after more than 3,000 levels. There must be a bug in this system. Hey, what else seems to be going on today? Oh, it's to participate in the Xinghe sect's disciple recruiting ceremony. The old man sent someone to call me, although no disciple will worship me as his master, as the leader of Xiaoyao Peak, I still have to show up. Then Yikong came to the ceremony to attend. And we see at the bottom of the river where there are very dangerous beasts, which Yikong is fishing for. At this time, the finals of the Xinghe sect's disciple recruiting ceremony. Then we see a boy, and he says, Miss Lin, I watched all your matches. Your martial arts are superb. I admire you very much. And he is going to have a fight with Lin Tian, and Lin Tian says, are you giving in? But the boy says, no, the girl may not know that I am the young master of Liuxiang Hall, which was originally a subordinate sect of Xinghe sect. My seventh uncle was an elder of Xinghe sect. And Lin Tian says, what on earth do you want to say? So the boy says, I mean, you and I have different starting points. Now I have reached the 7th level of qi refining stage. So even if the girl loses to the boy, she is still a loser. And as soon as Lin Tian hears this from the boy, she gets very angry, and she directly makes a dangerous attack on the boy and throws him away from the arena. Then the announcement is made, the champion of this year's Xinghe sect's disciple recruiting ceremony is Lin Tian. And the crowd says, no way, this is the final, the winner will be decided with just one move? And the other man says, not only is Lin Tian very capable, but she is also very beautiful. God must be so partial to her. And a girl says, she is simply a monster. And the great elder shouts and asks all of them to remain silent. Then he says, there are 3 great ways, and you who are selected need to choose a method that suits you in the early stage of cultivation. The 5 peaks of our Xinghe sect represent different paths of cultivation, and once chosen, they cannot be changed. Then Qing Changqing starts coming forward and he slightly takes out his sword. And the girls become very happy on seeing Qing Changqing and they say, wow! This guy is amazing. Who is he? He is Qing Changqing, known as the Little Sword God, and the strongest of the younger generation in the Xinghe sect. Oh my God, I want to enter Heavenly Sword Peak to learn sword from senior brother Qing Changqing. Then the great elder says, Heavenly Sword Peak accepted 1,200 disciples, Yusho Peak accepted 520 disciples, Lingyao Peak accepted 370 disciples, Manhwa Peak accepted 250 disciples. But then the great elder hears someone's voice due to which he gets shocked, and someone says, Xiaoyao Peak is accepting 1 disciple. And all the peak masters are very shocked after hearing that man's voice. And Qin Changqing looks at that man and he says, is there anyone who chooses Xiaoyao Peak? I wonder who would be so short-sighted as to take a useless person as their teacher. But then Qin Changqing's attention goes ahead and there is Lin Tian in front of him. And on seeing her, Qin Changqing gets even more shocked and he says, why is it her? And Lin Tian becomes a little serious and she thinks, in a small sect like the Xinghe sect, no one is worthy of being the master of this Empress. This Xiaoyao Peak, which no one has chosen, is just right for my spiritual practice. Then Qin Changqing says, Miss Lin, the leader of Xiaoyao Peak is only at the qi refining level and cannot guide you at all. You'd better become my disciple at Heavenly Sword Peak, and I will personally teach you the sword skills. And Yikong says, Brother Qin, you are poaching my cute little disciple in public. I am afraid this is against the sect rules. And Yikong comes forward smiling, and everyone is surprised to see Yikong. And Qin Changqing shouts to Great Elder, Uncle Yikong is usually busy with miscellaneous matters and has no time to teach. It is not a good thing to have a genius like Lin Tian become his disciple. And Great Elder says, Yikong, are you really ready to accept a disciple? Lin Tian is an excellent seedling for cultivating. You are not allowed to ruin her. And Yikong says to Lin Tian, don't worry, Great Elder. Hasn't she not established her foundation yet? As long as she is still in the qi refining stage, there is no disciple I cannot teach. And Lin Tian thinks, what an arrogant tone, as if he is invincible in the qi refining stage. And Yikong says, besides, I'm the only one in Xiaoyao Peak now, so if she comes, she can help me with cleaning and so on. I want this disciple. And Lin Tian gets angry and thinks, you want me, the Empress, to clean up for you. Then don't blame me for being rude to you. And she shouts, Master Yikong, if you want to take me as your disciple, shouldn't you prove that you are better than me? And Lin Tian releases her aura. But Yikong asks her, how do you want me to prove it? So Lin Tian says, take my 3 moves. But Yikong says, no. 3 moves are too troublesome, just 1 will be enough. And all the peak masters get very angry. And Qin Changqing says, he didn't even have the confidence to take 3 attacks from the enemy. He is simply a disgrace to the Xinghe sect. And Lin Tian says, okay, let's decide the winner with just 1 move. At the same time she thinks, this person doesn't know that I am the reincarnation of the Empress. Even if I have lost my cultivation, 1 move is enough to deal with a waste like you. Then Yikong says, let's get started. After the fight, we'll go back to Xiaoyao Peak for dinner. I cook and you will wash the dishes. And Lin Tian gets even more angry after listening to Yikong's words, and while attacking she says, you are looking for death. Yin Yang Thunderbolt Palm. And she makes a dangerous attack on Yikong, and Yikong also takes her attack on his body. And Lin Tian smilingly thinks, after being slapped with this palm, you, Mr. Yi, will have to stay in bed for at least half a year. You dare to ask me to wash the dishes for you? This is what happens when you talk nonsense. But we see that Lin Tian's attack has no effect on Yikong. And Yikong says, your palm technique only has momentum but no power. Don't practice it in the future. It's a waste of time. And Lin Tian gets very shocked and she thinks, I clearly hit him, why is he okay? And Lin Tian is in great shock and she cannot understand what just happened. And we look at all the peak masters, they are also very shocked, and they think, you two are just playing around here. Are you trying to put on a show for us? And Lin Tian thinks that's right. This Yi is the peak master after all, so he must be wearing protective clothing. Don't think I can't do anything to you just because you have protective armor. Watch me use my divine sense. Attack your spiritual sea. Then Lin Tian enters Yikong's spiritual sea, but she is very shocked because Yikong's spiritual sea is very big, and she is surprised and she says, the spiritual sea is the place where the spiritual energy is stored in the cultivators. The more spiritual energy there is, the larger the area. Yikong is just a cultivator of qi refining. How can his spiritual sea be as broad as the sea? What's happening? Then his attention goes ahead and there is a very big spiritual body of Yikong in front which moves forward to attack Lin Tian. And the spiritual body does a dangerous attack on Lin Tian which throws her out of Yikong's spiritual sea in just one go, and he says, this is not the place for you, get out. Then we see that Lin Tian is back inside her body but she has suffered a dangerous attack so she starts fainting. And Yikong holds her, and he thinks it was a close call. If it was a step later, her consciousness would have been refined by my spiritual sea, and she would have become a fool. Then Yikong starts taking Lin Tian with him now and he says, I'm exhausted from the continuous fighting here everyone, I'll take her back to Xiaoyao Peak. And the Peak Master thinks they must have discussed this beforehand. Of course, how could Yikong beat Lin Tian? And Qing Changqing thinks, okay Yikong, you are trying to play a trick on me, right? I can't do anything to you today with the Great Elder here. In the competition in 10 days, I will definitely trample you under my feet and see if you have the nerve to be someone's master. Then Lin Tian recalls her past and she says to someone, Mona, I am already an emperor-level warrior. If I can break through again this time, I will be able to ascend to the fairyland. You protect me and don't let anyone get close. And Mona says, Sister Tian, don't worry, I won't let anyone get close to you. But Mona takes out a dagger and stabs it inside Lin Tian's chest. And Lin Tian cannot believe that Mona has betrayed her, and she says, I treat you like a sister. Why did you betray me? But Mona says, because only in this way can I get everything you have. Remember in your next life, never trust a person again. And Mona kills Lin Tian. Remembering all these things, Lin Tian gets up from her bed shouting and she says, I will definitely come back to seek revenge on you. But Lin Tian gets surprised when she sees where she is now. Then Yikong asks her, are you awake? And Lin Tian gets ready to fight with Yikong and she says, Yikong, what did you do to me? But Yikong says, you suddenly fainted during the competition just now, so I took you back to Xiaoyao Peak to rest. Also, you should call me master now. Disciple, what are you doing? And Lin Tian remembers, no doubt, he only has qi refining cultivation. Then could everything that happened in the spiritual sea before just be a dream? Forget it. My original plan was to join Xiaoyao Peak. As long as he doesn't disturb my practice, I'll let him be my chief master. Then Yikong says, come and take a look at the cultivation resources that the master has prepared for you. Since you have become my disciple at Xiaoyao Peak, I will naturally train you well. And Lin Tian is a little surprised and she thinks, cultivation resources? Could it be a furnace of pills? He was thinking about it. And Lin Tian thanks Yikong, But when she removes the lid she is very surprised because instead of cultivation resources, some vegetables and meat are being cooked in it. And Lin Tian is very shocked, and she says this. Is this the cultivation resource you mentioned? And Yikong says, of course, this phoenix. Pheasant. But Master caught it with great difficulty and cooked it with spiritual fire, so eat it while it's hot. And Lin Tian thinks, forget it. He is a chi refining cultivator, so how can he get any resources for cultivation? After all, it's his good intention, so I'll just eat whatever I can. But this pot of chicken is really delicious. And as soon as Lin Tian tries to take the meat, Yikong stops her, gives her soup and says to her, disciple, you cannot eat this chicken yet. With your current level of cultivation, you cannot refine the spiritual energy in this meat. Just drink the soup. And Lin Tian gets shocked, but she thinks, it's okay that you're greedy, but you also say that I can't refine the spiritual energy in the meat? This is not a phoenix. Humph! How can such a stingy person be my master? I will leave Xinghe sect tonight. I don't want to stay in this place for a moment. What's going on? There is a strong spiritual energy flowing into my spiritual sea. How can a bowl of chicken soup have such an effect? Did he add high-quality spiritual medicine to the chicken soup? Spiritual medicine of this level must be rare in a small sect like the Xinghe sect, and he actually used it on me. Consider that I owe you a favor. When you recover your cultivation in the future, I will grant you some good fortune and make this Xinghe sect proud of you. Then Yikong says to Lin Tian, I have finished eating. Remember to wash the dishes. I will go out for a walk to digest the food. But Lin Tian gets angry and throws away all the dishes and shouts, damn it! You actually asked me to do such a menial job. Who do you think I am? When I recover my power, I will punish him by making him wash all the dishes in the Xinghe sect. Then she closes the door and goes inside. Then an ant tastes the dishes, and as it eats, its cultivation level increases and it transforms into the ancient beast Skyhorn ant. And then there is a thunder tribulation in the sky, and the thunder hits a mountain peak. And the ant gets very scared, but then Yikong enters and he says to the thunder, get lost. Can you afford to pay for the damage you caused to the flowers and plants on Xiaoyao Peak? And Yikong sends the thunder back. Then Yikong's attention goes to the ant, and Yikong asks the ant, Skyhorn ant? How could there be an ancient beast on Xiaoyao Peak? Then Yikong notices the dishes thrown away by Lin Tian and says, it turns out that you ate the phoenix bones and stimulated your ancient bloodline. This is also your good fortune. I will call you Xiao He. From now on, you will stay in Xiaoyao Peak and look after the house for me. And Zhao He starts protecting Xiaoyao Peak, but when her attention goes towards Yikong's house, there is light coming from a window, which the ant notices. And we see that Lin Tian is taking a bath, and she thinks, if your hands are stained with dishwater, you need to wash them thoroughly. But then Lin Tian notices someone's presence, and she attacks and says, where did this monster come from? It's looking for death. And Lin Tian's attack hits Zhao He, but Zhao He is not harmed by her attack. And Lin Tian thinks, the water arrow technique can't hurt it. It seems that it is not an ordinary monster. Then Lin Tian wears her clothes and she says to Zhao He, little ant, as long as you serve me as your master, I will grant you some good fortune. In time, you may become a demon king. But Zhao He outright refuses Lin Tian, due to which Lin Tian gets very shocked because she has been rejected by an ant. And so she gets angry and gets ready to attack Zhao He, and she says, you can't refuse this. You will definitely be grateful to me when you become the demon king in the future. Then we see Kong holding a book in his hand, and he is saying, I almost forgot. I haven't passed on the skills of our Xiaoyao Peak to my disciple yet. And then Yikong hears someone shouting from inside the house, due to which he gets very nervous and starts going inside the house quickly, and he is saying, disciple, what's wrong with you? And we see that a huge fight is going on between Lin Tian and Zhao He inside the house. And then Yikong comes there, and he throws Zhao He away with a punch, and he says, bastard! What did you do to my disciple? And Lin Tian gets very scared. Then Yikong says to Lin Tian, don't be afraid, my disciple. Its name is Xiao He. I picked it up to guard the gate today. Is there any misunderstanding between you two? Why are you crying again? But Lin Tian starts crying even more and she says, boo-hoo. I can't even defeat the spirit beast guarding the gate of Xiaoyaokei. And Yikong says, don't worry, my disciple, if you practice this technique well, I guarantee that Xiao Hei will not be your opponent. And Lin Tian wipes the tears from her eyes and she says, Secret of Underworld? Is it that powerful? Then Yikong says, certainly. This is the supreme secret book of our peak. Every time you break through a level, your cultivation will double. Practice well, and I guarantee that no one in Xiaoyao Peak will be able to defeat you except your master. And Lin Tian thinks, there are only 2 of us at Xiaoyao Peak. But Lin Tian takes the book and says, Master, rest assured, I will practice well. But Lin Tian thinks, although this secret of underworld is definitely not as powerful as my master said, I can show my talent by practicing this skill. By then, the master will realize what a waste it is to let a cultivation genius like me wash dishes. And then they both sense someone's presence. And Yikong thinks, killing intent. Then we see a demon and he says, it was definitely this smell. The woman's remaining soul had actually escaped to the underworld. Killing her would be a great achievement, but I don't know where she is hiding in this mountain now. And he is the Golden Horn Demon King. That's right. I will just split this mountain in half. I don't believe she won't show up. And the Demon King attacks and Zhao Hei blocks his attack. But she feels that she is going to die now, so she closes her eyes. But then Zhao Hei remembers Yikong and gets ready to fight. And she stops the Demon King's attack very easily. Seeing this, the Demon King is also surprised and he says, how dare a little demon ruin my business? But the ant is fully ready to fight the Demon King. And the Demon King says, you're saying that you are the guardian beast of this mountain, and you wouldn't allow me to destroy it. You, a mere little demon who has not yet transformed, dare to teach me how to do things. I will chop you into pieces first. And just as the Demon King was about to attack Zhao Hei, a small stone comes and hits his weapon, due to which the Demon King is unable to attack. But he is surprised that who has come here to fight him. And we see that it is Yikong, and Yikong says, I am the master of Xiaoyao Peak. Who are you to come here and cause trouble and hurt my pet? And the Demon King says, listen carefully, kid. I am the Golden Horn Demon King, and I'm following the order of the Demon Empress to capture the Empress Lin Tian. I know that she's hiding in this mountain. If you hand her over to me obediently, I will spare your life. And Yikong says, you want me to hand someone over? Even the heavenly Tao can't take anyone from me. What's a Demon Empress worth? So the Demon King says, a mere chi refining stage dares to speak rudely about Demon Empress. The Xinghe sect will be destroyed because of your ignorance. And Yikong smilingly says, ignorant? Do you know what kind of existence I am? Then Yikong gets ready for a dangerous attack and using his powers, he catches the Demon King with his spiritual hands, and the Demon King gets very scared but he says, who are you? How can someone in the chi refining stage have such powers? But Yikong says, of course I am at the chi refining stage, it's just I'm at 3000th level of chi refining stage. And Yikong crushes the Demon King and kills him. Then Yikong takes out the Demon King's pill, and giving the pill to Zhao Hei says, come on, Xiao Hei. This is the demon pill of that bull demon. Swallow it, it will be of great use to you. And as soon as Zhao Hei eats Demon King's pill, she evolves into human form, seeing which Zhao Hei is shocked but she is happy, and she is looking at her boobs and she says, I've transformed. Thank you, Master, for helping me transform. I will definitely use this body to repay Master's kindness. And Yikong says, what do you mean, repay with your body? If you say things like that, people will misunderstand. But Yikong thinks, forget it, that's enough for today, I'll teach her how to speak human language later. Next day Lin Tian is doing cultivation sitting below the mountain, and she is increasing her power, and she says, the 9-dragon tyrant body was my main training method when I was the Empress, I finally mastered it again. And she thinks, thanks to this secret of the underworld, I didn't realize that this technique could really widen my spirit sea, allowing me to cultivate the 9 dragons tyrant body at the chi refining stage. It seems that I did not choose the wrong master. But Yikong comes behind Lin Tian, due to which Lin Tian gets scared, and Yikong tells her, of course you made the right choice. Taking me as your master is the wisest choice you have ever made in your life. And Lin Tian shouts and says, Master, how can you hide behind someone's back and eavesdrop? And Yikong says, I wasn't eavesdropping, I came here to fish, and then I saw you exploding the sea. Were you trying to fry the fish in the sea of bitterness? And Lin Tian says, I wasn't frying the fish, I was just practicing martial arts. And she thinks, if you weren't the master, I'd crush you with one hand right now. And Yikong says, you're working hard, huh? So how far have you practiced the secret of underworld? And Lin Tian thinks, finally, if the master knew how long it took me to reach the 5th level, he'd be shocked by my talent. And she says, Master, after practicing all night, I have already cultivated the secret of underworld to the 5th level dash. But Yikong gets very shocked when he learns that now Lin Tian's cultivation level has reached 5th. And Lin Tian, seeing Yikong's expression, thinks, as expected. Master was so shocked that he couldn't speak. I'm the great Empress. You'll have to get used to it. But Yikong thinks she spent a whole night practicing the secret of underworld technique, which I learned in just a few minutes. She's only at the 5th level. Her talent is too poor, and Lin Tian says, Master, where is Xiao Hei? I was not in a good condition yesterday, I'll have a good fight with it today. Then Yikong looks back and we see some disciples, and they say, Search carefully, don't miss any place. And Yikong says, Disciples of the beast-taming peak, why have you come to my Xiaoyao peak? Are you here to breed the turtles in the sea of bitterness? So the disciple says, We are here to search for the spirit beast. Whether or not you breed in your stupid pond is none of my business. And Yikong thinks, it seems that when Xiao Hei transformed last night, she made too much noise and was noticed by the old man of the beast-taming peak. And Lin Tian shouts and says, Even if Xiaoyao Peak has spirit beasts, they are my Xiaoyao Peak's spirit beasts. What does it have to do with beast-taming peak? And then a man comes and he says, That's not right. According to the rules of our Xinghe sect, all the ownerless spirit beasts in each peak are eligible to obtain. So even if this spiritual beast is at Xiaoyao Peak, it doesn't mean that it belongs to Xiaoyao Peak. And that is, Qin Shou, beast-taming peak, golden core cultivation. And Lin Tian says, Then you are late. The spirit beast you are looking for already belongs to my master. But Qin Shou says, Really? But did the spirit beast recognize your master as its master? Listen here, girl. It's up to the spirit beast itself to say it. And the disciples say, That right. Spirit beast can't speak at all before it transforms. You guys are just planning to rob it. But Lin Tian says, I didn't mean that. But if that's what you want to think, that's fine. And the disciple says, Why are you all standing there? Hurry up and find the spirit beast. And Lin Tian looks at Yikong and she thinks, Master is only at the qi refining stage. I cannot count on him to protect the dignity of Xiaoyao Peak. Although I'm also in the qi refining stage, with my memories of my past life and my emperor's technique, ordinary foundation cultivators are no match for me. But this person, as a golden stage cultivator, I'm afraid he wouldn't have the face to fight with me. And Lin Tian gets ready to fight and she says, This is too much bullying. Today I, Lin Tian, will let you know. My Xiaoyao Peak isn't a nobody. But then before Lin Tian can attack, someone attacks those disciples and injures them, seeing which they get very shocked. And Lin Tian thinks, What's going on? I haven't started. And the disciples say, Who's there? You dare to attack the disciples of beast-taming peak. Come out if you have the guts. And then that disciple too gets attacked, and the one attacking him is Zhao Hei, and she says, Those who invaded Xiaoyao Peak only death awaits them. And when Qin Shou sees Zhao Hei, he gets very shocked. And Lin Tian looks at Yikong and she says, Zhao Hei, she clearly didn't transform yesterday. And Yikong says something magical happened. And Qin Shou smilingly thinks, It's actually a transformed spirit beast. If I get it, my combat power will be increased by at least 50%. She must be mine. Then Qin Shou says, Uncle Master Yi, how about I exchange this top-grade foundation building pill for this spirit beast? But Yikong says, My nephew, with your uncle's qualifications, not to mention the top-grade foundation establishment pill, even the best grade foundation establishment pill will not be able to establish the foundation, so it's useless to me. And Lin Tian thinks, how poor is his qualifications? And Qin Shou says, since my uncle is unwilling to exchange, I will take my leave. And then Qin Shou throws the rope towards Zhao Hei to tie her with it, and ties her completely with the rope. And Qin Shou says, Uncle Yi, you don't deserve to have a spirit beat at your qi refining stage. You'd better give it to me so that I can serve the sect better. And then Lin Tian moves forward to attack Qin Shou, but Qin Shou stops Lin Tian's attack and says to her, you are only at the qi refining stage, and you dare to attack me. And Qin Shou pushes Lin Tian away. But he thinks her palm made my qi surge. Is she really in the qi refining stage? Then Yi Kong says to Lin Tian, all right, stop fighting. But Lin Tian says, Master, please don't stop me. Today, no matter what you say, I will not let this shameless bastard take Xiao Hei away. So Yi Kong says, don't worry, he can't take Xiao Hei away. And Yi Kong thinks, how can a golden stage cultivator's magic weapon trap a spirit beast that has consumed the Demon King's inner elixir? And we see that Zhao Hei frees herself easily, seeing which Qin Shou is shocked, and he thinks, what? My demon binding rope. And Zhao Hei very quickly moves forward to attack Qin Shou, and Qin Shou thinks, you want to poke my eyes. I won't let you succeed. But then Zhao Hei inserts her 2 fingers into both the nostrils of Qin Shou, and throws him away, and says to him, bad guy, get the hell out of here. And Zhao Hei has easily defeated Qin Shou. And seeing this, Lin Tian is surprised and she thinks, Gold Stage Cultivator was actually defeated by Xiao Hei in single move. Could she be a Demon King? And Zhao Hei says to Yi Kong, Master, I defeated all the invaders. So Yi Kong says, not bad, I knew Xiao Hei would be good at this job, keep it up. By the way, discipline, didn't you say you wanted to challenge Xiao Hei? Then Lin Tian gets nervous and she says, No, maybe I am a little tired. Because of staying up late last night, I will go back to my room to rest first. And Zhao Hei says to Lin Tian, then I'll play with you tomorrow. And Yi Kong thinks, I've taken in a stupid disciple, I'll have to think of a way to increase her cultivation. We see some people at night. Then we see Yi Kong who has come near the river for fishing, and he is saying, it's a perfect time for fishing when the moon is dark and the wind is strong. I have a feeling that I will have a big catch today. And then Yi Kong's attention goes towards the bushes, maybe he heard something? And we see some disciples behind the bushes and one of the disciples says, this Yi Kong thinks we can't do anything to him because he has the spirit beast, and he still has time to fish. So the second disciple says, Senior brother, that spirit beast is indeed powerful. Can Fingzi really subdue it? And his senior says, don't worry, in order to deal with the transformed spirit beast, the Peak Master has given the demon-subduing golden bowl to Fingzi. No matter how powerful the transformed spirit beast is, it can't cause any trouble. But in order to prevent Yi Kong from getting in the way, I brought the 10,000 beast soul-bewitching incense that can stun 10,000 monsters. If this qi-refining idiot takes a whiff, he will probably sleep for a month. Then the disciples throw incense towards Yi Kong, and Yi Kong also starts looking at the incense and he says, oh, who is burning incense at this time of night? And the disciples start laughing. But Yi Kong starts smelling the incense, and he says, it's quite strong. It's like when I used to smoke huaji. I'll put it here. It's just the thing to keep me refreshed. And when those disciples see that Yi Kong is not affected by the incense, they shout and say, how come it didn't knock him out? Could it be that the dosage is not enough? Throw away all the beast enchanting incense on him. I don't believe I can't kill you. Then those disciples start throwing lots of incense towards Yi Kong. But Yi Kong's full attention is on fishing. And then he realizes that a fish is stuck in his hook, so he pulls the fish up and says, haha, I knew I'd get lucky tonight. Then Yi Kong starts cooking the fish with the help of incense thrown by the disciples. And seeing this, the disciples get very shocked and say, this guy used our beast incense to make smoked fish. What's going on? Did I take the wrong one? Could it be that it isn't the beast enchanting incense at all? And Yi Kong's attention goes towards the bushes. Then we see that all the disciples have fainted after smelling the incense. Then we see Zhao Hei, who is feeding the ants, and she says, Master said this thing is called a steamed bun. I think it is very delicious. You can try it too. And then Qin Shou comes behind Zhao Hei and says, Girl, you have been deceived by Uncle Yi. This steamed bun is food for the lower class. He gave you the steamed bun to eat, which obviously shows that he didn't care about you. And Lin Tian gets alert and she says, You bad guy, you dare to slander the master in front of me. I will not forgive you. But this time Qin Shou comes fully prepared. He has brought a treasure, and he is saying, Demon subduing golden bowl, take her from me. Qin Shou catches Zhao Hei with the help of the golden bowl and is saying to her, even if it's a transformed spirit beast, it's still captured by the demon subduing the golden bowl. Just follow me back to the beast taming peak and acknowledge me as your master. I will ensure that you will have endless delicacies from the mountains and the sea. You can fight all you want. This demon subduing golden bowl is the most precious treasure of my beast taming peak. It can trap vicious babies of spirit beasts. You won't be able to make a dent even with all your strength. And then something hits Qin Shou's golden bowl, seeing which Qin Shou gets very shocked. And he looks towards the bushes and asks who is there. But there is no sound. And Qin Shou thinks, the members of Xiaoyao Peak should all be bewitched at this moment. Could it be that people from other peaks are also planning to capture the transformed spirit beasts? The longer the night, the more dreams there are. It is better to bring the transformed spirit beast back to the beast taming peak as soon as possible. But when his attention goes towards the golden bowl, there is a fish bone stuck in his golden bowl. And because of that, his golden bowl is about to break, and seeing this, he says, What? The demon subduing golden bowl was pierced by a fish bone. How is that possible? And Zhao Hei gets a chance to break Qin Shou's golden bowl, and she does the same, and she very easily breaks Qin Shou's golden bowl and punches him on his face and throws it away. And now Qin Shou becomes very scared. And Zhao Hei is not going to leave Qin Shou so easily, and Qin Shou fearfully tells Zhao Hei, Wait, I will leave Xiaoyao Peak on my own now, you don't need to do anything. But Zhao Hei is very serious this time. And she is very angry with Qin Shou, and so Zhao Hei beats Qin Shou all night long. Next morning Lin Tian wakes up and she says, I was practicing last night, why did I suddenly fall asleep? Forget it, let's go back and wash up first. And when she comes out, her attention goes to someone, and she sees that Qin Shou is in front of her, and seeing him Lin Tian gets angry, and she shouts, You bastards from Beast Taming Peak are going too far. You came to block the door of my Xiaoyao Peak so early in the morning. You are forcing me to take action. Then we see Qin Shou, whom Zhao Hei has beaten very badly. And he is beaten so badly that his whole face is swollen. And Lin Tian also beats Qin Shou even more. And Qin Shou says, I will never come to Xiaoyao Peak again. Then the scene shifts to Heavenly Sword Peak. And we see that Qin Chongqing is showing swordsmanship to his disciple. And Qin Chongqing is saying, Let me show you, this move is called 9 Shadows Chasing Souls. And seeing Qin Chongqing's fencing, a disciple says, Senior Brother 5's sword can actually transform into 9 sword energies. It was an eye-opening experience. And the other disciple says, Of course, you think he's called Little Sword God for nothing. If it can reach half of my senior brother's level in this life, my life will not be in vain. And Qin Chongqing thinks, with your ability, if you can reach even 1/10 of my level, it would be a miracle. And you still want to reach half. This year's new disciple, the only one who is truly talented, is Lin Tian. But she actually rejected my invitation and chose to join Xiaoyao Peak. Then a girl says, Brother, I didn't see that move clearly enough, can you give me some pointers? Also some other girls also say, Teach me too, okay. Brother, I didn't understand either. Please teach me. Then those girls start arguing and say, Task my senior brother first. Bah, you are not the only one. And Qin Chongqing thinks, I see. I know why she rejected me. Lin Tian must have known that I was popular among the female disciples, so he deliberately rejected me. What a good move. Lin Tian, you have indeed succeeded in catching my attention. But now that I understand everything, how can I let you continue to stay with that trash? Lin Tian, wait for me. I'll come to Xiaoyao Peak to pick you up. We then see Lin Tian, who is increasing her cultivation, and someone says to Lin Tian, Sister Tian, I'm here to learn from you. And we see that Zhao He is going towards Lin Tian, but before Zhao He reaches there, Lin Tian runs away from there. And Zhao He says, Hey? Why is she not here? And Lin Tian is running away from Zhao He very fast, and she is thinking, with my current cultivation level, I am no match for Xiao He. Anyway, I have to avoid her before I build my foundation. And then someone comes near Lin Tian. Chen Chongqing comes in front of her and says, Sister Lin, how are you? And Lin Tian is surprised, and she asks, Who are you? And when Chen Chongqing knows that Lin Tian does not remember anything about him, then he shouts, Me, Chen Chongqing, from the Heavenly Sword Peak. Didn't invite Sister Lin to join Heavenly Sword Peak at the disciple recruiting ceremony? And Lin Tian says, An Yin, there was someone. What are you doing at Xiaoyao Peak? Are you also here to catch Xiao Hei's attention? But Chen Chongqing does not know anything about Zhao He, and he says, I came here this time just to invite junior sister Lin to practice at Heavenly Sword Peak. And Lin Tian says, No, I am a disciple of Xiaoyao Peak. Why should I go to Heavenly Sword Peak to practice? And then Chen Chongqing takes out a book and says to Lin Tian, Wait. As long as junior sister Lin is willing to come to Heavenly Sword Peak, I will teach you the Wind Shadow Sword Art, the mysterious skill of Heavenly Sword Peak. And Lin Tian looks at the book and thinks, Mysterious skill of Heavenly Sword Peak? Master taught me the secret of underworlds, which helped me raise my cultivation level to a very high level. If this Wind Shadow Sword Art has the same effect, it should not be missed. And Lin Tian says smilingly, Senior Brother Chen, can I take a look at this book Wind Shadow Sword Art first? And Chen Chongqing says, Of course, Sister Lin, please feel free to read it. And Lin Tian starts looking at the book and she says, Senior Brother Chen, you sure you didn't get it wrong, did you? Is this a mysterious sword technique? And Chen Chongqing says, That's right, and this isn't just any mysterious sword technique, it's a 9th top-rank sword technique, so it's very valuable. Junior Sister Lin, you must seize this opportunity. But Lin Tian thinks the martial arts of this world can be divided into 6 levels: divine, holy, heavenly, earthly, mysterious, and yellow. The worst swordsmanship I've ever practiced was at the heavenly level, and he actually tricked me with his mysterious level. And Lin Tian returns the book to Chen Chongqing and tells him, Senior brother, this sword technique is too powerful for me to learn. I'd better continue to stay in Xiaoyao Peak. And Chen Chongqing says, Junior sister? Don't go, I will teach you. And Chen Chongqing thinks, if I had known she would find it difficult, I should have gotten a copy of the yellow level sword technique. After this we see Kong, who is making something, and he says, the duster made from phoenix feathers contains the true meaning of the Tao. Good disciple, if you're with me, you'll just have to lie back and let the master take you flying. Then we see Lin Tian, who is taking a bath. But then Yi Kong comes there and he says, Disciple, your master has brought you something good. And Lin Tian gets scared and she shouts, Master, how can you come in without knocking? But Yi Kong says, You're always hiding in the house and taking baths. No wonder you're cultivating at a slow pace / put your clothes on. There's something I want to talk to you about. I'll wait for you outside. And Lin Tian thinks Actually, I said that my cultivation speed is slow. During the few days since I came to Xiaoyao Peak, I have already broken through from the 6th level of qi refining to the 7th level of qi refining. I didn't tell you because I was afraid of scaring you. After some time Lin Tian comes to Yi Kong after taking bath and wearing clothes and she says, Master, why are you looking for me? So Yi Kong shows the duster to Lin Tian and he says, Look at this, your master has prepared this thing for you, to help you practice. And Lin Tian is shocked and she says, No. You're not asking me to clean the house with this feather duster? My house is already very clean, there's no need to clean it. But Yi Kong does it. What cleaning? It's just to whip you. And Yi Kong holds Lin Tian's hand and he starts taking her inside the room. And Lin Tian thinks, You, an ordinary qi refining cultivator, actually want to whip this Empress. Then she shouts, Master, please get out. Or else I'll have to crush you with one hand. But Yi Kong says, disciple believes in master, it'll only take a stick of incense. Go and lie down on the bed. But Lin Tian shouts and says, I said get out. But Yi Kong was not going to listen to Lin Tian. He made Lin Tian lie down on the bed. Then he gets ready to use the duster. And Lin Tian is in a very shocked state and she thinks, what? What is this feeling? It's coming straight to my head, I can't help it anymore. And Yi Kong says, disciple, concentrate your mind and experience the meaning of the great Tao with your heart. And Lin Tian starts feeling something strange and she is shouting and she is thinking, that's right. This is the meaning of Tao. It turns out that the feather duster in the master's hand is really a treasure. I misunderstood master again. Then Lin Tian says, master, please whip me more. And Yi Kong says, oh my yes, D. And Yi Kong's Lin Tian's screaming voice starts coming from the room. And we see Ching Chang Ching who is going towards Yi Kong's room. And he is looking at the book and saying, Junior Sister Lin, I've found you a yellow grade, mid-level sword technique book, and I guarantee you'll be able to learn it. And then Ching Chang Ching hears Lin Tian shouting, Master, use more strength. That's it. And when Ching Chang Ching looks ahead, he sees something different which makes him very angry. Ching Chang Ching comes and says, Yi Kong, you dare to touch my woman, I will kill you. But then Zhao Hei comes behind him and hits Ching Chang Ching on the head, due to which Ching Chang Ching becomes unconscious. And Zhao Hei hits him. She starts taking him with her and says, you dare threaten my master with this little ability. The next day Lin Tian was sleeping very comfortably. Then she opens her eyes and says, it's already morning. Ow, it hurts. It hurts. Yes, yesterday I asked master to whip me, but he was really strong and showed no mercy at all. I can't take those whips in vain, I have to check if my cultivation has improved. Then Lin Tian sits down to do cultivation, and she feels that her cultivation level has increased and she thinks, what? I have reached the 9th level of Qi refining. I was only at the 7th level of Qi refining before I was whipped by my master. What kind of magic weapon is that feather duster? It can help me to raise 2 small realms. Forget it. Now that I've reached the 9th level of Qi refining, it's time to build my foundation. I have to prepare the materials to build my foundation first. It's just that I have extraordinary talent and aptitude. If I use ordinary foundation building items, it will only waste my talent and hinder my growth. The Xinghe sect certainly doesn't have anything worthy of my foundation building items. Fortunately, I was well prepared, and now it's time to activate the hidden chess pieces I laid in my previous life. And Lin Tian starts using some of her techniques. Then the scene shifts. Dakian Commercial Bank headquarters. And we see a man, and he is Xiao Yuan, chairman of Dakian Commercial Bank. And he says this month's revenue is 30% more than last month's. It seems that the pills we bought last time are very popular. However, the cost of the sea coral imported from the southern border has gone up, so we need to find a way to increase its value. By the way, this sea coral is good for strengthening kidneys and rejuvenating the body. I don't believe it can't be sold at a high price. It's Her Majesty's 1,000-mile massage. Her Majesty is still alive. Her Majesty actually asked me to prepare material for building the foundation. It seems that even if she's not dead, her cultivation is all gone, otherwise why would she bother to start cultivating from scratch? Your Majesty, I do have the top quality foundation building material you want. But why should I give it to you for free? Do you really think you are still the ruthless Empress who owes everyone? Considering the relationship between us as king and subject, I will give you a precious red chicken bone. Just use it to build your foundation, ha ha ha. After this the scene shifts, and we look at Yi Kong and he says, since my disciple has already reached the 9th level of Qi refining, I, as her master, should prepare the things for her to build her foundation. This precious phoenix bone contains the essence and blood of the real phoenix. It is most suitable for my disciple to use in building her foundation. Wait, she's not taking a shower in her room again, right? And Yi Kong knocks the door and he says, disciple, it's your master. Is it convenient for me to come in now? But Lin Tian says, master, please don't come in yet. If you have anything to say, please talk outside. And Yi Kong thinks, sure enough, she's taking a shower again. Fortunately, I asked in advance. And he says, it's nothing, it's just that your master has seen that you have reached the 9th level of chi refining, so he prepared some foundation building material for you. I'll leave it at your door, remember to take it. And Yikong puts the box near Lin Tian's door, and he thinks, when my disciple sees that the thing I prepared for her foundation building is the phoenix bone, I am afraid she will be so moved that she will cry. And Yikong says, but I can't stand seeing girls cry, so I'd better go fishing. Then Yikong leaves. And then a bird comes flying on the roof of Lin Tian's house, and there is a box in its mouth which it drops in front of Lin Tian's door. And when Lin Tian opens the door, there are 2 boxes in front of her which she gets surprised after seeing. Then her attention goes towards the bird and she says, it turned out that the foundation building items that Xiao Yuan had sent had also arrived. Let me see if the foundation building item he sent is of top quality. The precious bone of the red bird. How dare he use this thing to deceive this emperor? Wait, the red bird bone should be given by the master. The foundation building item I asked Xiao Yuan to give me may be in this wood. And when Lin Tian opens the box, light starts coming out of the box and the light becomes brighter, seeing which Lin Tian is surprised for a while. But she says, that's right, this is the top-grade foundation building item I want. Xiao Yuan is also very attentive, and I was not wrong about him. With master's ability, getting this precious bone of the red bird is the limit. I appreciate your kindness. Then Lin Tian comes inside her room and there is chicken bone in front of her, and she sits down to do cultivation and she says, this time I have the best foundation building items, I will be able to build a perfect foundation, and with time, it will be no problem to surpass my previous life. By then, I will hold up Xiaoyao Peak with my left hand and Xinghe Sect with my right hand, and master will bow down at my feet. And Lin Tian starts cultivating and a bright light starts coming out from the chicken bone, and takes the shape of a phoenix. Which is noticed by one man, and that is Luo Yantian, leader of Xinghe Sect. And the sect master says, unexpectedly, a strange phenomenon of heaven and earth appeared in the sky above Xiaoyao Peak. Could it be that a genius was making a breakthrough on Xiaoyao Peak? And the great elder says, sect master, do you think that extraordinary talent is Yikong? And the sect master says, we can find out if it is him by going to Xiaoyao Peak. After a while, they reach that place. And the great elder says, sect master, this strange phenomenon of heaven and earth is right above the main hall of Xiaoyao Peak. It must be caused by Yikong's foundation building. There is no doubt about it. And the sect master says, I didn't think Yikong would be able to make it big, the former sect leader would be happy in heaven. And Yikong also notices that phoenix, and he looks towards the sky and he says, why is this phoenix shadow yelling? It scared away all my fish. Get out of my way and don't disturb me while I'm fishing. And with Yikong just waving his hand, that aura disappears, seeing which the sect master gets very surprised. And he says, how come this strange phenomenon of heaven and earth disappeared all of a sudden? And the great elder says, sect master, look there, the strange phenomenon of heaven and earth has moved to the sky above the beast-taming peak. And the sect master says, what's going on? Why is this strange phenomena visiting us? And all the disciples are looking at that thing and they are saying, hey, look what's that in the sky? And we see another master, and he is master of beast-taming peak Qin Wei. And Qin Wei says, don't panic, this is a strange phenomenon in heaven and earth caused by the breakthrough of a genius. And a disciple says, senior brother Qin Shou is currently in seclusion trying to reach the nascent soul stage. The peerless genius that the master is talking about must be senior brother Qin Shou. And then the sect master and great elder come to that place. And they get surprised seeing them. And Qin Wei says, sect master, great elder, are you here for this strange phenomenon? And the sect master says, that's right, Master Qin, has anyone from your beast-taming peak made a breakthrough? And Qin Wei says, reporting to the sect master, right now in the entire beast-taming peak, only my disciple Qin Shou is in seclusion trying to reach the nascent soul stage. And the great elder says, it seems that this strange phenomenon in heaven and earth must have been caused by Qin Shou, and has nothing to do with Yikong. And Qin Wei says, the great elder must be joking again. Yikong is just a chi refining cultivator. How could he have the ability to cause such a strange phenomenon in heaven and earth? And the sect master says, Master Qin Feng didn't know that this strange phenomenon first appeared on Xiaoyao Peak. But now it seems that it is just a detour. Now that we have discovered the cause of these strange phenomena in heaven and earth, we will not stay here long. When Qin Shou comes out of retreat, ask him to come to the Xinghe Palace. I have a big reward for him. And Qin Wei says, Qin Wei thanks the master on behalf of his disciple. And when the sect master and the great elder leave, Qin Wei says, Humph. Seeing that my disciple Qin Shou has the potential to be an emperor, you want to come and poach him. Luo Yantian, how could I let you succeed? I'll let you sit on this throne for a few more years, and when my disciple becomes a great emperor, that's when the Xinghe sect will change. Then we see Yikong, who is enjoying his food, and he says, being able to fish and eat skewers at the same time is the best thing in life. But then someone says, Master, your disciple has established her foundation, and Lin Tian comes to meet Yikong. And when Yikong sees Lin Tian, he is surprised. But still he focuses on his food, and seeing this Lin Tian gets shocked and she thinks, how can you be so calm when I've already built my foundation? No wonder he's still at chi refining, he doesn't want to improve at all. Then Lin Tian says, Master, your disciple is now in the foundation building stage, don't you have anything to say? Also she thinks the master is too lazy, I have to stimulate him more. But Yikong says, okay, then I'll say a few more words. You have just established your foundation, you need to consolidate your state, and don't be arrogant, you still have a long way to go in the future. And Lin Tian thinks, Master, don't you feel embarrassed when you say this? I have already established my foundation. You are still cultivating at chi refining. It's okay for you to say it, but is it really okay for you to say it without getting all flustered? And then both of them hear the sound of a bell, due to which both of them get surprised. And Yikong says this is the bell sounded by the sect leader to summon the 5 peak leaders to discuss matters. Discipline, your master has to go to a meeting, so you should stay in Xiaoyao Peak and continue your cultivation. Don't be lazy. And Lin Tian says, yes, Master. But she thinks you are the only one in Xiaoyao Peak who slacks off every day. Then Lin Tian says, hey, Master is too hard to deal with. From now on, I'll be the only one who can take care of Xiaoyao Peak. Then the scene shifts to Xinghe Palace. And we see many peak masters, and they have come to meet the sect master. And Qin Wei says, the sect master summoned all of us peak masters here. What's the important matter? And the sect master says, I have called everyone here at this time to tell you 3 things, but the master of Xiaoyao Peak has not arrived yet, so we will wait a little longer. And Qin Wei says, what is the point of waiting for a peak master who is just there to make up the numbers? In my opinion, Xiaoyao Peak should be assigned to my beast-taming peak so that I can cultivate more spiritual beasts for the sect. And then Yikong comes to the place and he says, Senior Brother Qin has a big appetite. He is so eager to annex Xiaoyao Peak to expand his power. Are you trying to get your hands on the position of the sect master too? And when everyone sees Yikong, they get surprised. And Qin Wei says to Yikong, don't talk nonsense. And Qin Wei thinks, how did he know, was I being too obvious? And Qin Shou shouts and says, Uncle Yikong, my master just came to discuss matters because you were late, but you falsely accused him of wanting to get involved in the position of sect leader. You must give explanation. And Yikong says, okay, as long as your master dares to accept the soul search and says that he has no intention of becoming the sect leader, I will give Xiaoyao Peak to Beast Taming Peak. And then the sect master shouts at them and he says, enough. You're getting more and more ridiculous, stop it now. Now that the 5 peak leaders have arrived, let's start discussing matters. And then a peak master says, although Yikong is only a chi refiner, he is still the master of Xiaoyao Peak, but Qin Shou is only a member of the Beast Tamer Peak. What qualifications does he have to participate in this meeting? And Yikong thinks, this Qin Chunyang is just talking about Qin Shou, but he still has to involve me. He is really as annoying as his disciple. And the sect master says, I asked Master Qin Wei to bring Qin Feng here. Actually, this is the first thing I was going to say. I was the one who asked Peak Master Qin to bring Qin Shou here. In fact, this is the first thing I was about to mention. Beast Taming Peak's disciple Qin Shou has broken through to the nascent soul stage, triggering a heavenly phenomenon. He possesses the bearing of a great emperor. As a special reward, he is granted a nascent soul stage artifact. And Qin Shou thinks, it's the purple gold pagoda. And he says, I humbly thank the sect master for the reward. Then Yikong says, it is said that senior nephew Qin Changgoing is the number one among the younger generation of our Star River sect, but since senior nephew Qin Shou possesses the bearing of a great emperor, he is likely to surpass him in the future. And Qin Chunyang gets angry after listening to Yikong and says, what bearing of a great emperor? Since joining the sect, my disciple Changgoing has always outshone Qin Shou. If anyone possesses the bearing of a great emperor, it should be my disciple Chang Qing. And Qin Wei shouts and says nonsense. When Qin Chang Qing broke through to the nascent soul stage, he didn't trigger any heavenly phenomenon. And Qin Chunyang says everyone knows that Beast Taming Peak is full of all sorts of chaotic things. This heavenly phenomenon might have been something you all made up yourselves. And Qin Wei says, good one, Qin Chunyang. Are you implying that Beast Taming Peak is faking it? And listening to them, another peak master says, isn't it true? Otherwise, how could your disciple be worthy of triggering a heavenly phenomenon? And Yikong is enjoying listening to their talk. Then the sect master shouts and says to them, everyone, shut up. You, the peak master of Beast Taming Peak, and you, the peak master of Sky Sword Peak, how can you argue like this? This is utterly disgraceful. And Qin Wei says, sect master, it was Qin Chunyang who started the trouble by saying that my disciple is inferior to Qin Changgoing. And Qin Chunyang says, I'm speaking the truth. Qin Shou is indeed no match for Qin Chang. But the sect master says, both Qin Changgoing and Qin Shou are outstanding talents among the younger generation of our Xinghe sect. As for who is stronger between them, that will be revealed during the 5 Peaks competition. And Qin Chunyang says, when will the sect master plan to hold this year's 5 Peaks competition? And the sect master says, this is exactly the second thing I wanted to mention today. On the 15th of next month, the once in 10 years 5 Peaks competition will officially be held. Everyone, return to your respective peaks and be sure to urge your disciples to diligently cultivate and prepare well for this year's 5 Peaks competition. Then all people says, we follow the sect master's orders. And the sect master says to an elder, as for the third matter I need to mention, a rogue flood dragon has caused trouble in the Great Yen Kingdom. The Great Yen Kingdom is unable to handle it, and has sought help from our Star River sect. The Great Yen Kingdom pays tribute to our Star River sect every year, so it would not be appropriate to ignore them. Whoever is free go handle it. And Qin Shou says, sect master, I, Qin Shou am willing to. And Qin Wei says, among the 5 peak masters, if we were to choose the one who is the most free, it would undoubtedly be Yikong. Moreover, since Yikong became the peak master of Xiaoyao Peak, he has yet to achieve any notable accomplishments. Now that there is an opportunity to contribute to the sect, we can certainly compete with him again. And Yikong thinks, it's obvious that there's something fishy about this task, and I'm not taking it. What can you do about it? Then the system screen opens in front of him, and the system says to Yikong, special mission host should take the sect mission of Great Yen Kingdom, reward, clues for host to build foundation. And Yikong is surprised and he thinks, what? Foundation? So it turns out I can actually reach the foundation establishment stage. And Yikong says to the sect master, I'll take this task. None of you are allowed to take it from me. If anyone tries, I'll go after them. And the elder is also surprised to see Yikong's excitement, and the sect master says, since Peak Master Yi is so eager, then this task will be entrusted to you to handle. And Qin Shou says to Qin Wei, Master, a mere flood dragon is something I can handle. Why give the credit to Yikong? And Qin Wei says, haven't you always wanted that shape-shifting spirit beast from Xiaoyao Peak? If it doesn't descend the mountain, how can I go capture it and give it to you? After some time, Yikong is searching for something in his room, and Lin Tiantian is in shock and she says to Yikong, Master, you're going to the Great Yen Kingdom to deal with the Flood Dragon. Master, do you even know what level of demon beast the Flood Dragon is? You're such a naive person. Even a newly born Flood Dragon has the strength of a second-tier demon beast, equivalent to the foundation establishment level of a human, and an adult flood dragon is at least a demon king, at the level of someone like Xiao He. But Yi Kong does not pay much attention to Lin Tiantian's words, and he finds the thing he was searching for, and Lin Tiantian is a little surprised and she asks Yi Kong, "Did you find some treasure?" And Yi Kong takes out a wooden sword and he says, "It's the peachwood sword I personally crafted when I was practicing swordsmanship back then. I thought I had burned it as firewood, but it turns out I just tossed it under the bed." And when Lin Tiantian sees the wooden sword she gets disappointed. Then she says to Yi Kong in an angry voice, "Weren't you listening to what I just said?" And Yi Kong says to Lin Tiantian, "I heard everything, but don't say it's just a mere flood dragon. In my eyes, even a true dragon is no different from mudfish. You can rest assured." And Lin Tiantian thinks, "Laughable, even I, who was the Empress in my past life, wouldn't dare to say such a thing. This isn't just bragging anymore, it's like Ant claiming to have defeated an elephante." And now Yi Kong gets ready to go on his journey and he says, "Alright, while I'm away, if you two have time, focus on cultivating. If not, just sleep. In any case, don't leave Xiaoyao Peak." And Xiao He says, "Yes, master, Xiao He won't go anywhere." And Lin Tiantian glares at Yi Kong and she says, "Disciple obeys." At the same time she is thinking, "Master, you're underestimating the situation. If I don't secretly protect you, the next person to descend the mountain might not make it back. Sigh, this Empress really worries too much for her master." And Yi Kong starts to leave. And Lin Tiantian is watching Yi Kong leaving. And after going some distance, Yi Kong bids goodbye to both of them. And Lin Tiantian says, "Xiao He, be good and stay on Xiaoyao Peak. I'll go protect master, or else master might end up as nothing but scraps left by that flood dragon." And hearing this, Xiao He gets a bit surprised and she thinks, "Does the master need Yaoyao protection?" Then we see someone following Yi Kong. And Yi Kong continues his journey, and he moves forward. And we see that Lin Tiantian is following Yi Kong. And Yi Kong has already noticed Lin Tiantian and he thinks, "This Lin Yao Yao is just too playful. I told her to stay on Xiaoyao Peak and focus on her cultivation, yet she's secretly following me." Xiao He is still the obedient one, however, that old man Qin will likely try to target Xiao He while I'm away. I need to prepare a backup plan. And Yi Kong takes a jump and starts moving very fast. And Lin Tiantian gets frightened, and Yi Kong moves forward and says, "Now I can deal with the demon beast with peace of mind." And Lin Tiantian says, frightened, "What was that tremor just now?" Then the scene shifts to the imperial city of the Great Yan Kingdom. And some citizens are talking. "What? The Star River sect actually sent a peak master to deal with that wicked flood dragon?" "Exactly." Then we see a man and he says, "Is it a man or a woman? How old is he?" And he is the Emperor of the Great Yan Kingdom. And a soldier says to the Emperor, replying to the Emperor, "It's a man who looks very young, around 20 years old." And the Emperor thinks, "I got it. The peak master of the Star River sect. A man around 20 years old." And he says, "It must be Qin Changoing, the disciple of Sky Sword Peak and acting peak master of Sky Sword Peak." And a minister says, "Your Majesty, Qin Changqing, known as the Little Sword God, is regarded as the number one among the younger generation of the Star River sect. His future is boundless. Why doesn't the Great Yan Kingdom take this opportunity to establish a closer relationship with him?" And the Emperor says, "What the minister said makes sense." This Emperor knows what to do now. Then we see that Yi Kong has arrived to meet the Emperor, and many soldiers bow in front of Yi Kong, and they say, "The Emperor of the Great Yan Kingdom, accompanied by the officials, respectfully welcomes the envoy." And Yi Kong is surprised to see them, and then he says, "You are the Emperor of the Great Yan Kingdom? Then have someone guide me, and I'll go take care of that troublesome flood dragon." And the Emperor says, "Oh, no rush, no rush. The esteemed envoy has traveled all this way to my country to deal with the demon, so I must show proper hospitality and treat you with respect. No need for that. I think it's better to have this first." And a beautiful girl comes close to Yi Kong, and Yi Kong starts blushing after seeing that beautiful girl, and he says, "All right. Fine, then I'll deal with the flood dragon after we've had a meal." And Lin Tiantian is watching all these things secretly, And she starts getting a little angry and she thinks, these uncivilized small nations, they flatter a mere chi refining cultivator like this. I need to find a way to distract him or else the master might end up being eaten by those two palace maids. A colorful program is going on in the Imperial Hall and beautiful girls are dancing, and everybody is enjoying all these things. Then the Emperor says, esteemed envoy, what do you think of the dancer? And Yi Kong is enjoying all the facilities to the fullest and he says, not bad, she's beautiful and her dance is excellent. And Lin Tiantian has disguised herself as a soldier, and she starts getting very angry and she thinks, Master, what kind of taste do you have? This kind of bland, unremarkable performer, I could dance better than her with my eyes closed. Then the Emperor says, to be honest, the respected envoy, the dancer is my daughter, Princess Chang'an. I wish to betroth her to you as your wife. I wonder if you would be willing? And Yi Kong says, I have no objections, but Xiaoyao Peak is sparsely populated. Won't the princess feel lonely if she marries over? And the Emperor says, esteemed envoy, you're being too polite. Who doesn't know that among the 5 peaks of the Star River sect, Sky Sword Peak is the most lively? Saying it's sparsely populated is just a bit of an exaggeration. And Yi Kong says, I was talking about Xiaoyao Peak, not Sky Sword Peak. And as soon as the Emperor hears this, he is shocked and says, Xiaoyao Peak. Is that the one where the peak master is only at the chi refining stage and there aren't even any disciples? And Yi Kong says, that's not quite right. I may be at the chi refining stage, but I've already taken in a disciple even if it's just one for now. And the Emperor's daughter says, Father, I don't want to marry him. Everyone knows that it's better to be a little street monk at the foot of the mountain than to enter the Star River Xiaoyao Peak, Father. And the Emperor cries and says, let's go. Yuan Ren can't hold his liquor. What I said to the esteemed envoy earlier was all nonsense. There's no need to take it seriously. And Yi Kong says, since it was drunken talk, it can't be taken seriously. However, I've had enough to eat and drink. Your Majesty, can you arrange for someone to guide me now? And the Emperor says sadly, I will arrange it right away. Prime Minister, please see the esteemed envoy off on his journey. And Mr. says, I obey the command. And Lin Tiantian thinks, the great Yen kingdom is despicable, daring to insult me like this. Once I recover my cultivation, I'll destroy the great Yen kingdom to avenge my monastery in the ancient times. In a world rich with spiritual energy, some powerful ancient beasts came into existence. They all possessed the power to overturn mountains and seas, to destroy the heavens and earth. They stood at the pinnacle of the world. However, with the rise of humanity, these ancient beasts were hunted to near extinction by humans. Those that have survived to this day are either exceptionally powerful or possess rare and unique abilities to protect their lives. At this moment, on a river in the Jiangnan region of the Great Yen Kingdom, a flood dragon was emerging, its head rising above the water surveying the surroundings. Then we see the 9-headed flood dragon and he says, I am the 9-headed flood dragon, and the secret to my survival is unparalleled showing weakness. That's right. It may look like an ordinary flood dragon, but that's because I've hidden the other 8 heads beneath the water's surface. As long as I don't reveal my identity, the unparalleled powerhouses of the human race won't have the time or interest to hunt down an ordinary flood dragon. As for those whose strength is insufficient, they would only become food for us if they come. Speaking of which, it's been a while since I've had a cultivator's flesh. These people here should be bringing in cultivators to deal with me soon. I wonder if they'll send an ordinary one or someone truly powerful. Then Yi Kong sees the dragon and says, so? It's the troublemaking flood dragon? This time, you can count yourself lucky for inviting me. Otherwise, if someone else came, they might have just ended up as its next meal. And the minister tells Yi Kong, it is our nation's great fortune to have the Lord Envoy honor us with your presence. At the same time he thinks, my old back. Ouch, a useless former peak master who can't even fly, dragging me along to ride a carriage with you. And Yi Kong says, okay, get me a boat. I'll go deal with this cryptic, troublemaking flood dragon. And the minister says, Lord Envoy, the boat is ready, but are you sure you can slay this vicious flood dragon with just a wooden sword? And Yi Kong says, what, do you have a problem with my methods? And the minister gets a little nervous and he says, I wouldn't dare. But this flood dragon's scales are incredibly tough. Impervious to blades and spears. Lord Anvo, if you use a wooden sword, not only will you be unable to kill it, but even injuring it would be difficult. Why not switch to a real sword? And Yikong says, with the power of my sword techniques, I can still control the range of my attacks using this wooden sword. If I switch to a real sword, it would be catastrophic. And the minister says, what would happen? And Yikong says, this river of water will likely be cut in half by me. By then, you'll be more worried about how to deal with the flooding. And Lin Tiantian thinks, Master, it's one thing for you to boast in front of me, but why go and boast in front of outsiders? Are you not embarrassed? But I am sure. But the master often has some rare and unusual magical artifacts in his possession. Perhaps he really has the means to deal with this flood dragon. Anyway, let's observe first. If the master can handle it, then I will take care of it. And then the dragon notices something, and when she looks ahead she sees Yikong, and the dragon laughs and says, haha, as expected, this old cultivator is indeed impressive. Let me see if this person is in the golden core stage or the nascent soul stage. Cultivators of different realms emit spiritual energy of different colors. The deeper the color, the higher their cultivation level. The spiritual energy around Yikong is a grayish-white color, which is unique to cultivators in the Qi refining stage. And after seeing Yikong, the dragon thinks, Qi refining stage. And Yikong tells the dragon about himself and he says, I am Yikong, the peak master of Xiaoyao Peak of the Star River sect, and I have been entrusted by the great Yen Kingdom to come here and deal with you. If you have any last words, now is the time to speak. And the dragon says, are you an idiot? A Qi refining cultivator dares to challenge me? Do you have any idea what kind of existence I am? And Yikong says, I know, the ancient beast, nine-headed flood dragon. And the dragon says, you? What are you saying? I only have one head, how could I be a nine-headed flood dragon? And Yikong says, you've hidden the other 8 heads underwater, disguising yourself as an ordinary flood dragon. I'm sure there have been quite a few cultivators you've secretly killed over the years. Then the dragon says, impressive. I didn't expect a Qi refining cultivator to have such sharp insight. But you're no different from those powerless cultivators. You'll also end up being eaten by us, haha. And the dragon moves forward to attack Yikong. But Yikong says to him, what a pity. And the dragon gets a little surprised and says, what are you pitying about? So Yikong says, I was planning to eat some grilled flood dragon, but since you've already eaten humans, the meat can't be eaten. Naturally it's a pity. And the dragon gets very angry and starts looking at Yikong with angry eyes. Then the dragon attacks Yikong and he says, a Qi refining waste dares to speak so arrogantly? I'll have you know your place with a single strike. And Yikong also gets ready to attack the dragon, and he attacks with a wooden sword, and the dragon thinks, what's happening? Why do I feel fear towards a Qi refining cultivator? Could it be, like me, he is hiding his true strength? And when Yikong starts performing his attack, the dragon gets very surprised and he thinks, this. So much spiritual energy. This can't possibly be from a Qi refining cultivator. Then Yikong attacks the dragon with the Star River Reincarnation Sword Primal Strike. And the dragon is very surprised. And the minister is also very surprised when he sees Yikong's power, and he says, this sword technique is extraordinary. Could it be that everything that useless peak master said earlier was actually true? And Yikong's attack hits the dragon but still nothing happens to the dragon. And seeing this the minister gets shocked and he thinks, damn it, in the end not a single scale was even cut off. Now the vicious flood dragon is enraged, he's doomed. Although he's a waste, but if he dies here. And then Lin Tiantian moves forward to fight with the dragon and she says, you beast, with me, Lin Yao Yao. Here, don't even think about touching a single hair on my master's head. And Lin Tiantian attacks the dragon with the sword and many cuts are made on the dragon. But even this does not harm the dragon. And seeing this Lin Tiantian gets surprised and she thinks, this flood dragon's defense is too strong, ordinary sword she can't kill it. It seems I'll have to use that technique. And Lin Tiantian starts performing a dangerous technique to attack the dragon. And Lin Tiantian says, "Die, you vile beast!" And as soon as the dragon sees Lin Tiantian's attack, he gets very shocked and he says, "Emperor's Shadow Thousand Phantom Slash." And because of Lin Tiantian's attack, the dragon's body gets many wounds and the dragon starts vomiting blood, and he goes back inside the water, and Lin Tiantian thinks, finally it's dead. Now the master is safe. But because of Lin Tiantian using too much of her energy, her body becomes weak and she starts falling. But then Yi Kong saves Lin Tiantian, and seeing Yi Kong in front of her, Lin Tiantian starts blushing. But Yi Kong says to Lin Tiantian, "Disciple, look at you, you only unleashed one strike and already exhausted your energy. You need to strengthen your cultivation from now on. Stop taking so many baths." And hearing this, Lin Tiantian gets a little angry, and she pushes Yi Kong and says to him, "Only one strike? Master, that strike of mine was the Heaven Tear Sword technique, Emperor's Shadow Thousand Phantoms Slash. Only I, Lin Yao Yao, with my foundation establishment cultivation can execute such a move. There's no one else under the heavens who can do it." And Yi Kong says, "Disciple, there's no need to boast in front of me. That move of yours was clearly very ordinary." And Lin Tiantian says, "Was my move ordinary? Then what about the fish-slaying sword technique you used earlier, Master?" And Yi Kong says, "What fish-slaying sword technique?" "The sword technique I used is called Star River Reincarnation Sword. It slices through the stars above and splits the earth below. It's incredibly powerful." And Lin Tiantian says, "Master, please have a correct understanding of your own strength. As a chi refining cultivatory, if I hadn't come along this time, Master, you would have already been eaten by this flood dragon. Anyway, Master, don't run off recklessly again. Do you have any idea how dangerous the outside world is? Can't you give me a break and make me worry less?" But then the system screen opens in front of Yi Kong, and the system tells Yi Kong, "The host has completed a special task. Obtained a foundation establishment clue item, Great Tao Compass. The Great Tao Compass requires the host to fish it out from the bitter sea." And Yi Kong thinks, "The Great Tao Compass? With this item, I'll be able to find the method for foundation establishment." Then Yi Kong tells Lin Tiantian, "Let's go back to Xiaoyao Peak." And Lin Tiantian says, "Huh? We're heading back now? Actually, it's not often we get to leave the mountain. There's no need to rush back with me by your side, Master, you're completely safe." Then the scene shifts and we see Xiao Hei, and Xiao Hei is talking to the ants, and she is saying, "I really envy you all for always having something to do. When Master and Sister Yao Yao aren't around, I don't even know what to do with myself. Right, I can always sleep. Maybe when I wake up, Master and Sister Yao Yao will be back." Sleeping in broad daylight, this transformed spirit beast really does take after its master. Then we see Qin Wei, and Qin Wei says, "Once I capture her, I'll have to make sure to change her lazy habits." And Qin Shou says, "Master, I know where that transformed spirit beast asleep. I'll take you there right away." And Qin Wei is taking Qin Shou with him somewhere, and Qin Shou says, "Master, look, it's that forest over there." And Qin Wei says, "It's been a long time since I last came to Xiaoyao Peak." But then Qin Shou collides with a barrier, and both are surprised to see the barrier, and Qin Wei says, "It seems Yi Kong wasn't without precautions. Before leaving Xiaoyao Peak, he activated the mountain protection spell to safeguard the transformed spirit beast." And Qin Shou says, "Master, does that mean we're just wasting our time? If I'd known this would happen, I might as well have gone to the Great Yen Kingdom to slay demons." And Qin Wei says, "What's the rush? The mountain protection formation is certainly powerful, but it comes at the cost of draining resources. A formation like this, with no resources to replenish it, can be easily broken by me with a flick of my hand. Break it for me." And Qin Shou attacks the barrier to break it. But this has no effect on the barrier, and seeing this Qin Shou says to Qin Wei, "Master, it seems your attack isn't having any effect." And Qin Wei, after thinking something, says, "Cough, cough. It must be that Xiaoyao Peak still has some old resources left to support this formation. But as long as I use my true skills, this protective formation will definitely collapse." And Qin Shou becomes happy and he says, "I knew the Xiaoyao Peak's mountain protection formation could never stop Master." And Qin Wei again attacks the barrier, and his attack is called Heavenly Frog Big Dipper Palm. But again Qin Wui's attack does not do any harm to the barrier, and the barrier remains intact. And seeing this Qin Shou becomes disappointed, and Qin Wui says to him, "What's the hurry? The Heavenly Frog Big Dipper Palm has a total of 81 moves, and I don't believe Xiaoyao Peak's mountain protection formation can withstand all of them." And Qin Wui starts using all his power, and starts attacking the barrier again, but it makes no difference, the barrier is still intact. And now Qin Wui becomes very disappointed, and Qin Shou says to him, "Master, it seems Xiaoyao Peak's reserves are more solid than we thought. Should we try a different approach?" And Qin Wui says, "You make a good point, since it's difficult to break through from above, let's try going in from below." Then both of them together start digging a hole under the ground, and after digging for some time, both of them get tired, and Qin Shou says to Qin Wui, "Master, don't you have any magical artifacts that can dig? If it's just the two of us digging with a shovel, it'll take forever." And Qin Wui says, "If I had such a magical artifact, would I be here digging with you? Rather than digging." And then Qin Shou notices something and he starts looking at that thing, and he asks Qin Wui, "What is this? Could it be a treasure?" And Qin Wui gets surprised and he says to Qin Shou, "What are you doing?" So Qin Shou says, "Master, I found a treasure." And as soon as Qin Wui sees that thing, he gets very shocked and he shouts and says to Qin Shou, "Stop, don't pull it out. This is..." But Qin Shou had already picked up the demon sealing nail and he says to Qin Wui, "Master, I pulled it out. What do you think this treasure is?" And Qin Wui scaredly tells Qin Shou, "What a jokey, this isn't some big treasure. This is the demon sealing nail used to seal the ancestor of the demon sect. You've caused a huge disaster." And when he hears from Qin Shou he is surprised and he says, "The ancestor of the demon sect? Is this person very powerful?" So Qin Wui tells, "Not just powerful, 20 years ago, he was a terror across the entire Lianyun prefecture, recognized as the #1 expert by both the righteous and demonic factions. Back then, the previous sect master of the Star River sect gathered the forces of the righteous path from all over the world to finally defeat him. However, they couldn't kill him and could only seal him beneath the Star River sect's grounds. To achieve this, the previous sect master personally used 5 demon sealing nails to drive them into the 5 peaks of the Star River, using the spiritual veins of the 5 peaks to suppress the ancestor of the demon sect. And the one in your hand is the demon sealing nail that the previous sect master drove into Xiaoyao Peak." And after listening to all that Qin Wui said, Qin Shou is now very scared and in a panic he says, "Master, I'll put the demon sealing nail back in place right away." And Qin Shou tried to throw away the demon sealing nail, but it was too late. And tell Qin Wui, it's too late. Without the spiritual vein power of Xiaoyao Peak, the seal that was set back then can no longer trap the ancestor of the demon sect. Once he comes out, he will undoubtedly seek revenge on the Star River sect. Then Qin Shou said to Qin Wui, "Master, what should we do now?" But when he looks ahead, his master is not there. And Qin Wui runs away saying, "Run. Otherwise, staying here will only lead to us dying for the Star River sect." And Qin Shou says to Qin Wui, "Master, wait for me." And now because of the demon sealing nail, the weather of that place starts changing and dark energy starts spreading everywhere. And some disciples see this and they say, "It's only afternoon, why has it gotten dark already?" And the other disciple says, "Could it be that our Star River sect has produced another genius, causing this strange celestial phenomenon?" And the sect master feels a strange aura and he understands what this aura is of. Then he looks towards the sky. Now the whole sky is filled with dark energy. And then someone comes in front and laughing a creepy laugh says, "The rats of the Star River sect, the ancestor, have emerged. Prepare to die." And as soon as the sect master sees the ancestor, he gets shocked and says, "It's the ancestor of the demon sect. He was supposed to be eternally sealed beneath the Star River sect's grounds by the previous sect master using 5 demon sealing nails. How did he escape? Great Elder, hurry and lead the disciples to safety, I'll go deal with him." And the Great Elder says, "Sect Master, I will go with you." But the sect master says, "No. This is the greatest crisis the Star River sect has faced since its establishment. We must leave a backup plan. If I am defeated, then Great Elder, you must rebuild the Star River sect. And the Great Elder says, Sect Master, rest assured, I will not fail you. On the other side we see Yi Kong and Lin Tiantian, and Lin Tiantian is asking Yi Kong, Master, why are you in such a hurry to return? I actually think that your cultivation has remained stuck in the chi refining stage because you are lacking the experience of worldly cultivation. Perhaps if we stay outside for a while longer, you might be able to reach the foundation establishment stage. Master, have you changed your mind? And then Yi Kong feels something and says to Lin Tiantian, something happened in sect. And as soon as Lin Tiantian hears this, she becomes alert. Then they see some disciples who are very scared and running away. Then Lin Tiantian asks one of the disciples, Why are you running? Is there a demon beast chasing you? And the disciple says, No. It's not a demon beast. It's the ancestor of the demon sect seeking revenge on the Star River sect. If we don't run now, we'll be doomed. And Lin Tiantian gets shocked and she says, The ancestor of the demon sect? Who is that? And the disciple points in one direction. But then a dangerous attack happens on them and Lin Tiantian sees that there is a huge pit in front of her. And many disciples are falling in it. And seeing all this, Lin Tiantian thinks, such a strong demonic aura, this ancestor of the demon sect is at least at the venerable level. The sect master of the Star River sect is no match for him. The cultivation levels in the mortal realm are divided into 7 stages. Chi Refining Foundation Establishment, Golden Core Divine Transformation, or Nascent Soul, Venerable Emperor Divine Realm. Master, it seems that the Star River sect can't escape this calamity. We must leave. I'll protect you. And Lin Tiantian looks back and finds Yi Kong missing, and Lin Tiantian is shocked to see this, and she couldn't understand anything, and she shouts, Monastery? Where did the master go? And we see Yi Kong who is in the sky and watching the fight from the sky, and he says, This place shouldn't be discovered. Then the ancestor laughs and says, Ha ha ha. The Star River sect masters truly get weaker with each generation. Back then, you Wuji at least had the courage to exchange a few rounds with me. And you, Luo Yantian, can't even dare to take a single move from me. Is running away all you're good at? And the sect master is big, it is difficult to dodge his attack. And then both of them come down, and the ancestor laughs and says, So, you've stopped running? It seems you've decided this place will serve as your grave. And the sect master says, Ancestor of the demon sect, do you know why the Star River sect carries the name Star River? That is because when our sect was first established, the founding ancestor cultivated here, gazing at the stars to gain enlightenment, and mastered the power of the Star River. My Star River sect was named because of this. An ancestor says, I have no interest in the history of your Star River sect. After today, the Star River sect will cease to exist. And the sect master gets ready to attack ancestor, and he says, I led you here because every leader of the Star River sect can borrow the power of the Star River in this place. Die. Falling star. And because of the sect master's attack, a hole is created in ancestor's chest, and seeing this ancestor gets surprised and he says, How could I lose? And the sect master gets happy and he thinks that finally I have won. But then ancestor starts laughing and he says, How could I lose to trash like you? And the ancestor easily moves the hole in his chest. And seeing this the sect master gets shocked and he says, How could this be? Even the power of the Star River can't defeat him. Then ancestor says, Ignorant child, you think you can defeat me by borrowing the power of the Star River. Let me tell you, what stands before you is not my true body, but merely a clone. And the sect master says, What? Just a clone. An ancestor says, My true body is still trapped in the seal, but the seal is already damaged. It won't be long before my true body escapes. Then, not just the Star River sect. I will annihilate all the sects that besieged me without exception. And the sect master thinks, if this old thief's true body escapes, the righteous sects of the Cloud Continent will face a calamity. I must stop him, even at the cost of my life. Then the sect master asks for help from his ancestors and he says, Ancestors of the Stak Kivek sect, Please grant me more of the Star River's power to destroy this evil. An ancestor starts laughing and he says, I'll just stand here and see how the ancestors of the Star River sect can protect trash like you. Then we see Kong and he says, destroying this demon ancestor in front, the sect leader, I'm afraid I won't have any peace, it's better to use the sect leader's hand now. And Yikong transfers a little of his power to the sect master. And realizing this, the sect master is shocked and he thinks, this power. Could it be that the ancestors have really appeared to impart their power to me? And the sect master becomes very happy, and he attacks Ancestor and says, Ancestors, stop. My body can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. And the attack done by the sect master is very dangerous, seeing which Ancestor gets very scared. And he cannot believe that this is possible? And he does not believe it. But with this he is killed in a single stroke and he disappears completely. And seeing this, the sect master is also very shocked and he says, Did I do this? I killed the demon ancestor with one palm? Then we see the real ancestor, and he says, My clone was destroyed, I underestimated the Star River sect. But this seal won't last much longer. Once I leave this place, I will slaughter everyone in the Star River sect. An ancestor attacks the demon suppressing nail to destroy it. Then Yikong shouts loudly as there is a hole next to him and he says, Damn it, who was so inconsiderate as to dig such a big hole on my free and easy peak? Aren't they afraid of people falling in? And they even dug out the demon suppressing nail. So that's how that old monster's clone got out. This mess still needs to be cleaned up by me, the peak lord of free and easy peak. And Yikong looks around, then he sees a tree and he says, This size is just right. And Yikong, using his powers, cuts the tree in the shape of the demon-suppressing nail, and fits the demon-suppressing nail over the big pit. An ancestor using his powers breaks the demon-suppressing nail, and seeing this ancestor becomes very happy and he starts laughing and he says, Ha ha ha! I'm free! After 20 years, this old ancestor is finally free. But then Yikong fits the new demon-suppressing nail back in its place. And the demon-suppressing nail comes down, and when Ancestor sees it, he is surprised and he does not understand anything. What is that thing? But we see that a very bright light comes down from above and the Ancestor gets confused after seeing it, and we see that he starts freezing completely in the ice and he does not understand anything that is happening to him right now. The next day Yikong is sitting and catching fish and Lin Tiantian is looking at Yikong from behind and she thinks, rushing back just to fish. Master is so unmotivated, no wonder the free and easy peak is looked down upon by the other 4 peaks. I never thought the Star River sect's leader could defeat the demonic ancestor. The Star River might actually rise from a third-rate sect to a renowned one. I must cultivate. I must become stronger and uphold the reputation of the free and easy peak for master. And then a fish gets caught in Yikong's hook, and Yikong pulls the fish out. But that thing is not a fish, it appears to be some kind of treasure. Then the system tells Yikong, Road Compass. The host's cultivation has reached the pinnacle of this world. If the host wants to build a foundation, he must accept 5 disciples with special physiques. And Yikong says, so that's how it is. Lin Tiantian happens to have a special constitution suited for the path of fire. Now I just need 4 more. But where should I find them? And then the road compass shows Yikong the image of a boy, seeing which he gets a little surprised and he says, My next disciple is a little beggar? We are then told the real truth of that little beggar, and his name is, Bai Wuchen, the current demon emperor and lord of the Lipper realm, cultivates the supreme heavenly demon scripture, widely recognized as THB ultimate demonic art. It's said that upon mastering this art, one can shatter the void and achieve immortality. However, with the rise of a new empress among the gods, the peace between the gods and demons, which had lasted for 10,000 years, finally came to an end. The gods declared war on the demons. In this great war between gods and demons, the undefeated demon emperor Bai Wuchen ultimately fell. In order to escape certain death, Bai Wuchen used the secret art of reincarnation, sacrificing his physical body to allow his divine consciousness to escape. And by the will of heaven, this thread of divine consciousness enters the body of a little beggar in the lower realm. The undefeated demon emperor was thus reborn. Star River Town, located at the foot of the Star River sect, attracts many rogue immortals to set up stalls and trade cultivation resources due to its advantageous geographical location. Then Bai Wuchen looks at the people around him and he says, I never thought I'd be reborn as a child in the lower realm, with my cultivation falling to the foundation establishment stage. And one man says to Bai Wuchen, where did this beggar come from? Go beg somewhere else. And Bai Wuchen gets angry and he says to that man, do you know who I am? How dare you speak to me like that? But that man says, get lost, kid. I don't have time to listen to your nonsense. If you don't leave, don't blame me for being rude. And Bai Wuchen says, judging a book by its cover? And then Bai Wuchen listens to some people's conversation and they are talking, have you heard? The great demonic ancestor who caused chaos 20 years ago wasn't dead, but sealed within the Star River sect. So one man says, why didn't the Star River sect kill that demonic ancestor? If he escapes, wouldn't the world be in chaos? And another man says, well, that old demon did escape the other day, but the Star River sect's leader sealed him again with a single slap. And another man says, damn. That's so awesome. I have to apply to the Star River sect the next time they recruit disciples. And after listening to them, Bai Wuchen says, what demonic ancestor? Sealed with a single slap? What a disgrace to the demonic path! He should be called the shame of the demonic path. I could enter the Star River sect and devour this demonic ancestor. It would definitely restore a lot of my cultivation. Then I'll occupy the Star River sect and use it as a base to launch my counterattack on the upper realm. Mona, one day I'll make you kneel before me. Then we see ancestors who are buried under the ice. He feels something and says this. Who is this? This demonic blood chi is actually stronger than this old ancestor's. The Star River sect. The Star River sect provoked such a great demon, there's no way it won't be destroyed. By now, there must be rivers of blood up there. Then sound starts coming from the road compass and Yi Kong gets surprised seeing this and says, I told you, you're a compass, not an alarm clock. I'll go accept a disciple when I've rested for a few more days. Stop ringing, you're scaring all the fish away. And then Yi Kong feels something and says, this is my 9 heavens thunder movement formation, triggered by someone digging on my carefree peak again. I'll see who's so blind as to dare dig on my carefree peak. And then there enters Bai Wuchen, who has had to endure a lot of thunder. And seeing him Yi Kong is surprised and he says, how is it a child? And the road compass starts sounding again, and it indicates that this is the same boy who is going to be Yi Kong's new disciple. And knowing this Yi Kong is surprised and laughingly says, ha ha ha, what did? Say, there's no need to rush accepting a disciple, they'll come to your door themselves. Then Bai Wuchen finds himself at another place, and he is surprised to see this place. And when he turns back, his grandmother is in front of him. Bai Wuchen gets shocked to see her. But he is having a dream and Yi Kong says to him, since you came up the mountain alone, you must want to join the Star River sect. I'll accept you as my disciple. And Bai Wuchen says, who's your disciple? Who are Weru? Is this? So Yi Kong says, as expected of my disciple, only unconscious for a day after being struck by the 9 heavens divine thunder. You've got a tough body. My name is Yi Kong, Peak Master of Carefree Peak of the Star River sect. And Bai Wuchen thinks, I don't care who you are. You weren't even born when this emperor ruled the upper realm. Wait, he said he's the Peak Master of Carefree Peak. If he's the Peak Master, he must know where the demonic path ancestor is sealed. I'll capture him and search his soul. And then Lin Tiantian comes there, and she says to Yi Kong, Master, did you take my bath you? And Bai Wuchen is surprised to see Lin Tiantian, and Lin Tiantian is confused to see Bai Wuchen. And she wonders, why is there a child in the master's room? Could it be the master's illegitimate child? And Bai Wuchen thinks, what's this woman's background? She's giving me a sense of oppression. And then Xiao Hei comes there, and she says to Yi Kong, Master, I've filled the tub with water. And Bai Wuchen thinks about Xiao Hei, a demon king level shape-shifting spirit beast, and judging by the demonic aura she emits, she's not far from a universal demon emperor. And Yi Kong says, I haven't introduced you yet. This is my new disciple. And Lin Tiantian thinks, good. So I'm a disciple. Then Bai Wuchen bows in front of Yi Kong and greets him, but he thinks, with these two women here, I can't make a move on him. I'll become his disciple first, then find an opportunity later. And Yi Kong says, Rise, by the way, what's your name? And Bai Wuchen says, I'm an orphan, I don't have a name. And he thinks, no way I'm telling you my name. If anyone knew this emperor took a chi refining cultivator from the lower realm as master, how could I show my face again? And Yi Kong says, then I'll call you Little White, now that Carefree Peak has Little Black, and with the addition of Little White, black and white make a perfect pair. And Yi Kong says to Xiao Hei, Little Black, take Little White to bathe. He's filthy and smells. And Xiao Hei starts taking Bai Wuchen with her, and Lin Tiantian says to Yi Kong, Master, are you really going to take this child as your disciple? Although he's trying hard to hide it, I can sense a demonic chi lurking within him. Aren't you afraid of being accused of colluding with the demonic path? So Yi Kong says, Little White does have demonic chi, but Master has a way to deal with it. Don't worry. After some time, Bai Wuchen is taking a bath and he thinks, I, the great demon emperor, am actually called Little White? When I no longer need you, I'll slap you to death. And then Yi Kong comes there. And Bai Wuchen is shocked to see Yi Kong and he thinks, so no, did he hear what I said just now? And Yi Kong asks Bai Wuchen, Disciple, is the bath comfortable? And Bai Wuchen does not understand anything. What does Yi Kong want to ask him? And he tells Bai Wuchen that it is comfortable. And Yi Kong tells him, if it's comfortable, soak for a while longer. I've added primordial true water to the bath. It can purify the impurities in your body. Soak slowly. Master is leaving. And Bai Wuchen thinks, this guy is full of hot air. Primordial true water is water from when the heavens and earth were still undivided. It's extremely rare. He said he added it to my bathwater to purify my body? He's trying to fool a child. If it really is primordial true water, then my demonic energy. After a while Bai Wuchen feels something and is shocked and says, my demonic energy is gone? There must be some mistakes. Let's try again. Not only is my demonic energy gone, but my inner demon pill is also gone. I've become a chi refinement stage cultivator. Damn treacherous master. You destroyed my cultivation. I will never forgive you. Then we see Yi Kong, who is smiling and listening to Bai Wuchen shouting. After a while we see Lin Tiantian, and she is a bit shocked and she thinks, what exactly did Master do to Little White? I can't sense any demonic energy from Little White's body. But why is he like this? And she says to Bai Wuchen, Little White, junior brother, Master asked me to teach you the Xian Huang Ju. It's our Xiaoyao Peak's treasure, divided into 9 levels. Each breakthrough doubles your spiritual energy. And Bai Wuchen thinks, go on. Doubling spiritual energy? How can there be such a powerful technique in this lowly world? And Lin Tiantian says, the Xian Huang Ju focuses on the Zunlang transformation, gliding the heavens and earth's spiritual energy to circulate. Watch carefully. And Bai Wuchen is surprised to see Lin Tiantian's dragon and phoenix body and he thinks, dragon and phoenix body protection. How can a cultivator from the lower realms have dragon and phoenix body protection? And Lin Tiantian says, don't daze off when your senior sister is teaching. And Bai Wuchen says, yes, understood, senior sister. At the same time he thinks, with such a sharp gaze and powerful aura, this is undoubtedly imperial might. My senior sister has the bearing of an emperor. And Lin Tiantian says, the Xian Huang Ju has been taught to you, you'll have to practice more on your own. Right, senior sister wants to entrust you with something. Are you willing? And Bai Wuchen thinks senior sister has the bearing of an emperor. It's best to cultivate a good relationship with her. When I counterattack the Lipper realm, I can invite her to help. This favor is sold. And he says to Lin Tiantian, senior sister, what are you saying? With our relationship, even if it's 10 things, what does it matter? After some time Bai Wuchen is washing the dishes and he is getting very frustrated and he says, damn it, that hateful Lin Tiantian, actually making me, the great demon emperor, wash dishes for you. When I recover my cultivation, you will definitely become my maidservant. Damn it! Then the scene shifts to the demon music palace, And we see the disciple of Ancestor, and he is Demon Music Palace Master Su Biu Ba, direct disciple of the Demon Dao Ancestor. And he says, is the intelligence from Star River Sect true? Is the Ancestor really still alive? And a soldier says, reporting to the Palafor Master, she is accurate. Many Star River Sect disciples witnessed the Ancestor appearing. But the Star River Sect Master slapped the Ancestor back into his seal. And Su Biu Ba says, nonsense, the Ancestor was a royal realm expert 20 years ago. Luo Yantian, a temporary sect master, couldn't possibly have such ability. This must be the Ancestor's scheme. And the soldier says, there's one more thing I need to report to the Palace Master. While investigating the Star River Sect, discovered extremely pure demonic energy from a child. And Su Biu Ba says, where would a child get pure demonic energy? I understand. This must be the Ancestor's reincarnated form. Where is the child now? And the soldier says the child was discovered by the Star River Sect Xiaoyao Peak Master and taken away. And Su Biu Ba laughs and says, what are we waiting for? Issue my order, let the Shadow Guards spare no cost to storm Xiaoyao Peak and rescue the Ancestor's soul fragment. Then we see Bai Wuchen, who is sitting and doing cultivation, and he says, Senior Sister was right. This myriad yellow scripture really does increase my spiritual energy. I've only cultivated to the 6th level, but my spiritual energy has increased 6-fold. With this myriad yellow scripture assisting me in recultivating the blissful demonic canon, I'm sure to achieve twice the results with half the effort. Maybe I can even reach the grand completion stage that I couldn't before. When that happens, who in the world will be my opponent? Who would dare to defy me? And then someone comes there, and Bai Wuchen is also surprised to feel him. And we see that Grand Elder has come there, and he says to Bai Wuchen, at such a young age, yet already at the 7th level of Qi refining. Truly a natural-born cultivator. Since fate has brought us together today, I shall accept you as my last disciple and bestow upon you a great opportunity. And Bai Wuchen thinks, this old man has no idea. I'm a demonic cultivator, not an immortal cultivator. And the Grand Elder holds Bai Wuchen's hand and starts taking him with him, and says to him, come with me, my disciple. But Bai Wuchen says, stinky old man, who wants to be your disciple? Let go! Help! Someone's kidnapping a child. And just then Xiao Hei comes there, and she says to Grand Elder, who's there? Let Xiao Bai go. And the Grand Elder says, I heard there's a new shape-shifting spirit beast on Free Roam Peak. You must be it. I am the Grand Elder of the Star River Sect. Do you dare to stop me? And Xiao Hei says, no matter who you are, you can't take Xiao Bai. And the Grand Elder says, I insist on taking him. What can you do? Would you dare lay a hand on me? And then Xiao Hei attacks the Grand Elder, and both of them start pulling the Grand Elder's beard and harassing him. And then the Grand Elder shouts Bai Wuchen's name. And Bai Wuchen also hears it, and he says, coming. What brings you to Free Roam Peak today? And when Yikong goes ahead and looks, he gets very shocked. And he sees that Xiao Hei and Bai Wuchen are harassing the Grand Elder together. And Bai Wuchen shouts at both of them, holy crap! Xiao Hei, Xiao Bai, stop it! Grand Elder, these kids don't know any better. Please don't take it to heart. They may be ignorant, but are you too? Is this how you teach them to treat their elders? And the Grand Holder says, if you had been any later, my beard would have been completely plucked. And Yikong says, the Grand Elder is right. I'll punish them severely. And Yikong says, you're both confined for a day. Get back to your rooms and don't go anywhere. Grand Elder, you see, I've punished them severely. Can we let this matter rest? And the Grand Elder says, you call that a severe punishment? But forget it, I, the Grand Elder of the Star River Sect, won't lower myself to their level. And Yikong says, as expected of the Grand Elder, such magnanimity. Even I am in awe. Please, Grand Elder, take your leave. I won't see you out. And the Grand Elder says, all right, then I'll be going. But then the Grand Elder shouts, I can't leave yet. I came to Free Roam Peak on important business. Besides to break members near our sect. The sect master has ordered me to warn the 5 peaks to be on high alert, and prevent any demonic sect sneak attacks. I'm not too worried about the other 4 peaks, but I'm not so sure about Free Roam Peak. But don't worry too much. Beast Taming Peak has offered to assist Free Roam Peak in defending against the demonic sect. And Yikong says, Beast Taming Peak? Would they be so kind? And the Grand Elder says, ahem, since they're offering both manpower and resources, I took the liberty of agreeing to a small request of theirs. Then we see Qin Shou, who is digging at some place, and he says, keep digging. It's not deep enough. This septic tank must be dug wide and deep. Small pit won't be able to hold the excrement of our Beast Taming Peak spirit beasts. And the disciple says, Feng Zi, if the demonic sect attacks Free Roam Peak, should we help? And Bai Wuchen says smilingly, help? Of course, we'll help. We'll help collect their corpses. But after a while, we see Yikong, and suddenly he starts to smell a dangerous smell, and he says, the Grand Elder is foolish. How could he agree to let Beast Taming Peak build a septic tank at the foot of Free Roam Peak? No, I must go and reason with them. At night, we see some demonic music palace shadow guards sneaking somewhere, and they say, the ancestor's incarnation is inside, be careful not to be discovered. And the second shadow guard says, I've heard that the Free Roam Peak master is a chi refining cripple. Do we really need to be careful? And the first shadow guard says, that's right. We should be careful in other places, but not Free Roam Peak. Brothers, let's go. Follow me to greet the ancestor. Then we see Bai Wuchen, who is sleeping and saying in his sleep, Master. Senior sister, one day, I'll make you my servants, hee hee hee. And the shadow guards are outside Bai Wuchen's room door, and the first guard says, that's right, the ancestor's incarnation is in this room. Then we see Lin Tiantian coming there, and she says, what's going on? Why is there a stench on Free Roam Peak? And Lin Tiantian sees those shadow guards and she shouts, who are you? How dare you trespass on Free Roam Peak at night? And the shadow guard moves forward to attack Lin Tiantian, and he says, I wasn't planning on killing anyone tonight, but since you've seen me, you'll have to die. And Lin Tiantian also takes out her sword to fight with him. And the shadow guard attacks Lin Tiantian, but Lin Tiantian blocks his attack. And seeing this, the shadow guard gets surprised, and he thinks, a mere foundation establishment cultivator managed to withstand a blow from a nascent soul expert like me. This girl cannot be spared, otherwise she will become a great enemy of our demonic sect in the future. And Lin Tiantian thinks, the demonic sect. They must be here to attack Master. Master, your disciple will fight to the death to drive them out of Xiaoyao Peak today. Burn my phoenix blood, awaken my past life spirit. But then Lin Tiantian gets shocked and she says, what's going on? Why has my sword turned into a chicken foot? And the shadow guard laughs and says, a chicken foot? It's a chicken foot, ha ha ha. She burned her essence blood, and it turned out to be a chicken foot, ha ha ha, I know. She's trying to laugh us to death, and Lin Tiantian gets angry and attacks, saying, this emperor has long since reached the realm where all grass and trees can be my swords. Get out of Xiaoyao Peak. And the shadow guard also uses his power to stop Lin Tiantian's attack, and he says, MPH, someone who can't even get a decent weapon on Xiaoyao Peak is simply courting death. And Lin Tiantian says, if you want to fight, then fight. Stop with the nonsense. Before I die, I will drive you out of Xiaoyao Peak. And she thinks, it must be that I haven't absorbed enough spirit blood to unleash my full power. I need to absorb more. I'm the only one left on Xiaoyao Peak, I can't retreat. And Lin Tiantian again attacks the shadow guard. And seeing this shadow guard is shocked, but his companions come forward to help him. And they merge their powers, and the shadow guard says, brothers, hold on. As long as we withstand this wave of attacks, we can exhaust her. And now the powers of all 4 of them have increased, and they are stopping Lin Tiantian's attacks very easily. And now Lin Tiantian is having problem, and she thinks, how could this be? Is it still not enough blood? And the shadow guard says, ha ha ha, you little girl are truly a good seedling for cultivating demonic arts. A mere foundation establishment cultivator, and you can actually resist our entire shadow guard? It would be a waste to kill you here. Why don't you come back with me? The ancestor will definitely nurture you well. but they all get injured. But Lin Tiantian gets a little more injured and she starts fainting and she thinks, as expected, only the blood from a severed artery is, Master, I'm afraid our master-disciple relationship ends here today. Your disciple will go ahead. And we see Yi Kong, who has noticed that Lin Tiantian is in trouble, and he thinks, my foolish disciple is too impatient. It's just a group of rats. Leave it to your master. And the shadow guard starts standing up and he says, damn it. This woman is crazy. But fortunately, we are all Golden Core Realm experts. Let's go, let's go. Don't waste any more time. Hurry up and greet the ancestor. And then Yi Kong comes there. And he attacks them using his power, and kills them in one stroke. And the shadow guard is very shocked, and he doesn't understand what just happened here. Then Yi Kong goes to Lin Tiantian and lifts her in his arms and says to her, silly disciple, with your master here, even the king of hell himself couldn't take you away. And Yi Kong uses his power and a drop of blood falls on Lin Tiantian's forehead, due to which Lin Tiantian regains consciousness. And with this the video ends. If you want to see its next part, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And the more you like and comment, the sooner I will upload its next part. So see you in some other video. Till then, bye.